Okay, so for the next bit of our rehabilitation and the management of these injuries, we've talked quite heavily about kind of isometric loading, complexities and kind of progressions of isometric loading, short to long lever. If we're thinking according to the research, maybe 90% of the injuries we'll see will be to the proximal end of the rectus femoris. We're going to want to try and load the distal end of this area initially. So we're going to progress some eccentric knee dominant loading at this point. And there's a paper out there which looked at this from a different way, looked at it from like an injury prevention point of view and trying to gain desirable characteristics from that. And we'll take some of these exercises because they transfer nicely into exactly what we're going to want to achieve from a rehabilitation point of view. So the first one is like a box drop. So the patient will have a step on, they'll hang 1 foot over the edge and they'll go into a double leg landing. And you can see they're going to have to eccentrically absorb that load at the knee. So if you're okay just performing that for me again. So they're here, down, they're having to absorb eccentrically. Knee dominant activity, but nice and easy again, thinking about function, how are they absorbing it, how comfortable are they absorbing it, what ranges of knee flexion are they going into. This is all information that we're going to want to see. The second exercise from that paper was a reverse Nordic exercise. So we're going to bring a mat in, a little foam roller here for the patient to use to have underneath their feet. So from side on, it's a great view of what we're going to look to try and achieve. So we're looking for them to have their hands on their hips, and again thinking this is a knee dominant action. So we want to see as much action as we can. We don't want to see too much lumbar extension. So we want to make sure that the movement we're getting is a genuine knee dominant action. We don't just want to see our patient moving and it's just because they're bending backwards. We want to see it all from the knee. Again, nice because it's a long length. We're getting that kind of isometric hold at the top as they're having to control and resist kind of hip flexion and lumbar extension, but we're also getting a really nice, strong eccentric load knee dominant wise. Perfect. And then if you have a stand up for me. And then the third exercise that we'll use from that paper is some deceleration walks. So we're going to get our patient to hold on to the band. Actually, if we go this way so everyone can see. So if you start down there for me, we're going to get our patient to go into a nice squat position and I'm going to apply that and they're going to have to decelerate through. Again, you can see every step they're taking, they're having to decelerate at the knee, getting a strong eccentric contraction. That's exactly what we need. Nice and easy ways to do it, all functional patterns as well, which is what we're going to want. Again, thinking about when we go back outside, can we perform this action nice and comfortably? Because in function, when we then go into that deceleration, we're having to eccentrically control with the quads. Have we prepped them for that in the gym? And with this, hopefully we have. So to move on from the eccentrics we've just loaded in the gym, we're just going to progress onto one knee dominant eccentric on the bed and then onto a couple of our early hip flexion eccentrics on the bed as well. So we've got a patient in a prone knee bend position. Again, thinking back to the anatomy, we know we've got that rectus femoris proximally at length because the hip's an extension. So we're going to look to provide a bit of a knee dominant eccentric. So I'm going to take your heel towards your bum. I want you to provide some resistance, but let me win. Okay, so we're going to go into that eccentric, come back out, keep working through that eccentric while the patient provides some resistance. Nice. The key thing to think about, again, I've touched on it a couple of times, is the kind of three-dimensional nature and what they're going to have to do. So what I'd be looking to do in this, initially just working forward to back. However, then what I'm also going to do is maybe take the hip into a bit of abduction, apply an external rotation element to it as well while I'm working through. So they're providing resistance, might come into a bit of internal rotation. So they're always providing that resistance in the eccentric knee dominant phase, but I'm looking to provide a different stimulus, a rotational element, and kind of a bit of an abduction or adduction moment to it as well as I'm working through. So I'm working kind of different ways round, essentially like the clock face, thinking about it, might go to neutral, 45 degrees rotation, 20 degrees rotation, keep working through, and again, thinking back to function, what are they going to have to do and how are they going to have to do it. Then I'm going to get my patient into side lying, so if you'd like to lie on your right hand side, facing away from me. Perfect. And this is the first of our hip dominant eccentrics. So if you bring your knees up for me. Hip dominant eccentrics are quite difficult to obtain because we know that it's really easy to get an eccentric at the knee. We've got loads of range of movement to go into, a good 140 degrees of knee flexion. So it's really easy to load that. It's really difficult to load the proximal end because we've only got maybe 10 degrees of extension, if that, in some of our patients. They're going to be really restricted. So we have to work really hard to get that. So one way we can get it is by taking the patient's thigh, grasping just above the knee. And again, I'm going to take you into this hip extension moment. I'm blocking behind to stop them kind of cheating, going to like a lumbar extension. And you're going to provide some resistance, but let me win. Okay, and off we go. Good, and relax. And then back again. Nice, so we're providing that manual eccentric at the hip. And again, because of the position we're in, we've got the knee in flexion. That rectus femoris is going to be at real length. We can really isolate the proximal end. And again, it might look really simple, but it's a really, really effective way of getting an eccentric around the hip. And then the last one, if you go back onto your back, but slide down off the end for me. So we're going to get our patient into essentially like a Thomas test position. So if you come to the end of the bed, is right by your hips. So keep coming down for me. Perfect, and then lie back. We want you to lift your knees up for me to 90 degrees. And I'd like you to squeeze that ball. Perfect. And then you're going to lower your legs down to the ground. Perfect. Keep those knees bent to 90 and back up. Good, and if you just perform 5 reps of that for me. So we've got a slightly weighted ball. They're having to decelerate again into extension. We're clearing the hips by the end of the bed to give them a bit more range. We're getting, again, thinking about complementary musculature that we'll come on to slightly later. We've got an adductor load. We've got a bit of abdominal load as well. What's the lumbar spine doing? I'll just take that away for you. Perfect. So that's a really, really good exercise. Again, in the early phase, it's bilateral, but we're trying to get everything in the area of recruiting, thinking about technique, and we can really progress that. We can increase the weight of the ball. Again, we can add an overload resistance to it, so they have to really decelerate in those phases. But they're just 3 really good eccentrics. All we need is the bed, and we can get the exact load that we require just by thinking about positioning, speeds, and how we're looking to achieve it. So in the assessment practical, we talked about the kind of drop lunge continuum in terms of an assessment tool and readiness to go back into sport. What we're going to do here is relate that into the management now, and how do we build up to that point. So we're going to work in like a reverse lunge, but add a few different progressions. So it's nice and slow, but we're adding other complexities into it to allow us to work our way up to being able to clear through the kind of quick drop lunge at speed. So if you first of all just go into a reverse lunge from me. Perfect. Nice, and back up. And the other way for me. Good. So what we're going to do, again, thinking about the sling, if you take that in your 2 hands, arms out in front of you, and I want you to go back with your left leg for me. Good, and back up. So again, we're thinking about that sling. They're having to resist rotation to the right whilst extending to the left. That whole sling's going to be working. Good, and back up. And then I'd like you to do that again, just adding a little bit of complexity to it. I'm just going to provide a little stimulus. So there's a little bit of speed at rotation there as they're going into the position. They're having to really work hard to control. They're pre-recruiting, hopefully, because they know now what I'm about to do. Good, and back up. Nice. So again, only really simple. They're not at loads of speed. We're maybe adding the speed elsewhere and getting them again working through rotation, having to isometrically control in other areas whilst eccentrically lengthening around the hip. We then do something similar. So if you go into that position, I'm going to throw the ball in and you're going to have to catch it out in front of you. Yeah. Good, and throw back to me. Good. And back up and down again. And then catching, again, resisting rotation and coming back up. So you can see it's quite a challenging exercise. There's lots of things for them to think about because they're eccentric lengthening, but again, having to control perturbations higher up. If you just hold that in front of you, go down into your reverse lunge, and again, we can come in, add those perturbations to them here. Good, nice, and back up. Last one we're going to look to do, the ball's going to be across your chest. I want you to go back into that reverse lunge. As you do, I want you to go with the ball over your head for me. Good. Again, we're getting lengthening through that tissue, thinking about the whole sling, keep referring to that sling, but it's really important. We're taking everything through again, thinking about how people kick, that arm's going to come up and out and everything's going to go through there. Nice and relaxed for me. Perfect. So you can see, compared to the tests that we did, these are much slower, much more controlled. And we're more thinking about other areas that are going to help contribute before we then look to progress through to like a drop lunge, but we're getting nice eccentric length into a reverse lunge while adding other complexities to this exercise.